In Syria, we're now talking about involvement between all these people: Assad, rebels, Israel, Russia, the Kurds, Turks, U.S., ally members, all of them. As military leaders now plan their next steps, some top thinkers in the U.S. see only one clear option here for the U.S. Step back. Don't let this become a forever war. John Glaser is with the CATO Institute, and he gave me his assessment. When it comes to Syria, what are your biggest concerns today?
So last month, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson announced a new plan for an indefinite military presence in Syria, U.S. forces, about 2,000 troops. And he assigned these troops several tasks, including protecting the Syrian people from harm, so a humanitarian objective, pushing back and countering Iranian influence in Syria, also paving the way for an eventual overthrow or transition away from the Assad government. And last week we saw an example of how things can kind of unravel and get out of hand. So there was an attack by Syrian forces on a rebel-held base where U.S. advisors were present, and the United States and its coalition partners retaliated. And that not only led to about 100 deaths, mostly Syrian forces, but also at least some Russian advisors and military forces.
Iraq, Afghanistan, and now added to that slate, it's a triad. Syria, we're going to be there for quite some time.
Whether a U.S. military intervention succeeds or fails, it always garners justifications for further intervention. Iraq, of course, fell apart. We intervened again to fight ISIS, and now we've kind of succeeded in battling and decimating ISIS as an organization. And that should be an opportunity for us to go, okay, we've succeeded, we're out of here. And instead, it's a justification to stay longer, indefinitely maybe.
I don't think the U.S. government seems like they're really that eager to see Assad step aside. Do you think they really want him out of there?
Most people on the ground and most policymakers and decision makers focusing on Syria recognize the chaos that would immediately occur in the case of a power vacuum in which the Assad regime falls. And so, yes, they're not actively pursuing regime change at the moment, but they continue to call for Assad to step down. And they, for some reason in this situation, assume that the Assad regime won't attack an invading army, which is its sovereign right.
I mean, this could look just as bad as we see today, it seems, perhaps.
Any political transition needs to be prudent and realistic about the changes that take place, needs to involve a lot of reconstruction throughout the country, and needs to exclude rebel groups that for a long time have been described as moderate, but have not been.
The U.S. doesn't appear to be pursuing any sort of new AUMF. We're just going to keep working off the old one?
That has no authorization by Congress, which makes it illegal. The notion that the old AUMFs could be used to justify this is just hogwash. That has no international legal authorization. That is to say, the UN Security Council hasn't approved this foreign presence in Syria. We don't have the permission of the host government, right, as the Assad regime. They don't want us there. And we're not there deterring a direct threat to the United States. Congress is supposed to declare war. Congress is supposed to authorize foreign military operations overseas. And so not recognizing that is another damaging development to the sort of political norms and rule of law in this country.
At this point, the U.S. has no plans of a full pullout or a full-scale invasion, just sort of sitting in limbo. As Syrians also, they wait and wonder and hope to stay alive for another day. They hope to see their families again.